I'll say that this is really taking me back a bit because it's been a little while since I've taken the time to repair a phone. What we have right here is a Pixel 4. The battery is a little swollen, and the back cover was starting to pop off of the actual phone. So normally you heat the back, loosen some of the adhesive, and cut around the remaining adhesive to get the back out. But fortunately, as a result of this swollen battery, a good portion of this was already lifted. So I took just my handy dandy little knife type thing and slowly made my way around the rest of the perimeter of the phone to get the rest of the adhesive cut. And I just had to make sure that when I did open it, I opened it ever so slightly, because even though I've already taken the time to disconnect it, this little ribbon cable here was actually connected to the motherboard underneath one of these brackets. So I was able to slowly open it, hold it like this, use some type of Torx, I think it's a Torx 5 or Torx 4, I think Torx 4 bit from my iFixit screwdriver set, and remove the panel, remove the screws, and I can disconnect this. I've already actually reattached the panel and screwed it back down in place, since for now I can actually just let that kind of rest. Over here, there was another panel that was secured covering the battery connector. I've already removed those screws and taken that panel off, and of course disconnected the battery. Now I'm in the process of removing what appears to be strategically placed pull tabs. So I'm going to continue pulling this little guy in hopes that I'm able to get most of the adhesive that's under the battery removed, so I don't have to do much prying, because now, especially that this battery is swollen, any type of puncture to the battery could be pretty dangerous. And my hope is that once I get all, it looks like there's 3 total pull tabs. My hopes are to get the battery out and take it to Best Buy, because I believe they can appropriately dispose of batteries. Right there, printed on the battery, it says don't put it in the trash can. And my brother actually works for one of the nation's disposal companies, and he says, yeah, all the time there are dumpster fires, or really trash truck fires, because I guess as things get compressed and smashed, things puncture, things catch fire. So I would not want to potentially contribute to him having a bad day. So I'll do what I can to safely remove this battery and then properly dispose of it. So this being the Pixel 4, it's been out for quite a while, and even though I'm only on pull tab number 1, it's good to see that it didn't immediately snap. I can see that the battery is already wiggling a little bit down here in the bottom corner. At this point, I'm not even sure if I'm actually doing anything anymore. Okay, press the power button, the battery's disconnected, so it's fine. I know there's probably a better way to be doing this in terms of, I've seen people take tweezers and wrap the stretched adhesive around that as they pull. Let's see why you do it now. In fact, let me we'll give that a try since this handy dandy iFixit kit came with tweezers. Yeah, I'm terrible with these things. Spaghetti. Alright, at this point I think I can be pretty cautious, and there's enough space to get underneath the battery. Okay, so that side I think is going to be good for now. Yeah, okay, yeah, there's definitely more pull tab I could get, but I figured that would happen. So 2 more pull tabs up here. And feel like I'm rushing, which I shouldn't be, because prior to recording, I was going nice and slow, and I got a good portion of that bottom pull tab out. So let me see if I can take my time. At this point, yes, there's enough adhesive removed that I am safely under the battery, and slowly make my way across. People, oh, you shouldn't cry. I know, but these pull tabs, man. Taking my time lifting the battery, no longer prying. Okay. And looks like I got some of it out, but definitely not a lot. Interesting concept that they do with these little pull tabs. So, truth be told, I don't have a replacement battery for this thing right now. So what I'm going to do is hold on to that little guy, because that probably isn't important, but I'll hold on to it. And I'm going to reassemble what I can, and if I apply power to this, it should still work. So I'm going to put everything back together, loosely adhere the back panel, and just make sure that when I plug it in, it still works. But hopefully, due to video magic, I'll pick up where I left off when the replacement battery It comes in the mail, which I should have ordered already, but I didn't. So let's go ahead and reassemble these guys. And just to note, these screws, at least one of them is different. So make sure you arrange them in order so that way you know when you're reassembling, everything goes where it's supposed to go. So like I said, it's been a long time since I've done anything in terms of phone assembly, disassembly, repair. Mainly because these things got more expensive, and even buying broken phones to repair sometimes just isn't worth it. Case in point, I mean, yeah, I've done my little videos on the Pixel 7. I think only one video so far, but I mean, after trading, one of them cost like $100, maybe like 130, and had Best Buy's trading process work properly the second time, that second brand new Pixel 7 would have cost me like $60. So what's the incentive to buy a broken phone to then spend however many potential hundreds of dollars on a new OLED display? And it's not worth it anymore. Also, this tiny screw that I'm dealing with right now is the one that noticeably appears to be different. Now, we are in 2022 and I'm doing a Pixel 4 phone, so I can imagine there are tens of hundreds of other videos that have already done this. So I just said, hey, it's been a while since I've done something like this. Let me go ahead and just pop this camera on. Man, this is taking. Okay. Just make sure it's tight, because I'd hate for one of these to fall out. And I say tight enough, not to the point where, it's problematic. So turn it over, everything seems cool. And let me just give it some power, see what happens. It's telling me there's no battery, so at least it's recognizing it. Alright, I know, no battery. Yes, I get it. It should still be able to work. But actually, I think one thing I might have found out is that the power comes from the battery, not like, what am I trying to say? With a laptop, you can remove the battery and still use it. The cell phone with this particular phone, it looks like it's saying, oh no, there's no battery. So even though I'm plugged up, I have no way of turning it on because I read from the battery, not from the charging port. Which, it is what it is, not that big of a deal. Okay, well, at least I'm still getting something on the screen, so that's good. Alright, well, I'm going to end this one right here, and hopefully I'll be able to order that battery and we'll be able to move forward. So, thanks to Video Magic, we are back. Here's my phone, and here's the battery. I think, what's today? Thursday. I think I ordered the battery maybe Sunday or something. I don't know. But some time has gone by. We got our battery for our Pixel 4. So I recently recorded a video about stuff from Front Page Tech and John Prosser, and his video was about how the European Union is stepping in and essentially forcing Apple to do some stuff. One of those things was putting USB-C on the iPhone. Another one of those things is allowing for side loading of applications and then third-party app stores. So it's abundantly clear that Apple exhibits a lot of control over every single aspect of their business, which they have every right to do. But when it gets to the point where I can't do a simple battery swap on my phone without Apple getting involved, I think that's problematic. And I mention that because as I'm swapping the battery or installing a new battery on this Pixel 4, which yes is an old device, but it's still let's go in. There we go. While I'm installing, there's no adhesive on the back of this. There's still some residual there. Oh yeah, while I'm installing a battery on the back of this, or back into this Pixel 4 device, Google does not care that I am installing a battery. Okay. Meanwhile, Apple would want to cut. So yeah, Apple would want to cut. And for something as simple as a battery repair, I don't think Google or Apple needs to get involved. I really wish there was. Is there some adhesive in this thing? And you know, if you're watching this right now, oh, if you order it from Apple, you would have got the adhesive strips. Yeah, I would have. Which, whatever. There's still a little bit of stickiness. But the whole point of me just mentioning any of that stuff is, yeah, something like this doesn't need the OEM's permission. Like, I don't need the OEM's permission to do this. Okay? I really don't like that at all. I also don't like the fact that there's no glue. What is this little thing? I'll just install the battery before I connect any screws. Let's verify that it actually turns on. And my guess is that this battery is dead since this phone is pretty old. So let's give it a charge. Okay. So at least 52%. Okay. So why wasn't it turning on? There we go. Alright, so it looks like we have successfully reinstalled a Google Pixel 4 battery. Looks like there's some screen burning. It's an old phone, so can't get too mad about it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this, put everything back together, and then show you the finished product. And I figured I'd just continue recording while I'm putting these screws back in. Not that it's a big deal because we're just going backwards, but keep in mind that all the screws are not the same, so just make sure you keep them in order. I think all of them are the same except for one, but definitively I know this one is different, but the other one's kind of hard to tell. So yeah, just keep them in the same order as they would be as if they were going in. And when it's time to install them, simply place them back. Yeah, I will say, yeah, I don't have any adhesive, and I'm not going to glue this battery in. And with this back case, you need to remove these two screws. I believe that's for the rear flash. That's why there's a ribbon cable here. But while I'm doing this, I mean, I'll have you know that yeah, this is a Pixel 4. I've done similar repairs to Pixel 3s, 4XLs. I attempted to do something with a 5, but I never really did anything with it. But yeah, it's nice to be able to do something like this and not have Google say, well, before you get started, you know, give us some money. And I said it before, I'll say it again. I mean, I just think my biggest gripe with Apple is the fact that I used to be able to do stuff like this. And then, yeah, somebody realized that even for the small amount of us that do our own repairs, in comparison to, you know, all the people out there, they're still losing money off of us. So they say, you know what? We might as well just lock down the whole process for everybody. I think I got this backwards now. Yeah, that's right the first time. So I get it. A lot of people don't want to do this, as you know, makes sense. Oops. But for those of us who do enjoy doing this, it's nice to not have to worry about Google or Apple or Samsung or Microsoft getting in the way. I will say, when it comes to these tiny little ribbon cables, it's always an adventure. Just making sure that they fit in like little Legos. Taking them apart is usually pretty easy. And snapping them back in place and not bending the rubber cable too much and lining everything up. Sometimes there's a little bit of a challenge, but I like it. Let's close that. Get these screws back in. I know that, iFixit, and I think other companies make tools that make it easier for you to hold up these back panels so that way you have both your hands free to do whatever it is that you're attempting to do. I don't have one of those, so I'm just relying on one hand, my eyesight, enjoying the fact that these screwdrivers are magnetic. That's also a nice thing. And yeah, it takes me a couple tries, but that is okay. Okay. Alright, and again, let me just turn it on one more time. Oh, it's been on this whole time. Probably should have turned it off. But anything else? I know Hugh Jeffries always, like wipes down everything with a microfiber cloth. I don't got one of those right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and seal this puppy up with, again, the adhesive that, the residual adhesive. So, yeah, the battery in there is kind of, you don't hear it. But what I did do, because I knew that I wasn't going to be putting new glue on this, I bought a case. And one of the main reasons I bought the case, of course, is the fact that, I knew that I wasn't going to be putting new glue on it. But another thing that I thought I remembered was these buttons not being super clicky. But they are, so I'm not sure what I was remembering. Yeah, these buttons are extremely clicky. So, yeah. The used Pixel 4 case. Like $8. And I guess thanks for these instructions. Cleaning lens and screen cleaning wipe, thanks. Let's just verify that it fits. There we go. And we have a repaired Pixel 4. So I know this video is, 3 years late? But it is what it is. Alright, so thanks again to iFixit, not for sponsoring this video, but because I've purchased several of their tool kits, and I always use them now when it comes to disassembling these small electronics. Thanks for watching.